and Dan Cliff of Liverpool Harriers. They have been withdrawn, but I'll run you through the last remaining athletes once we get underway. We have James Wignall of Sale Harriers Manchester, Oliver Lockley, an under-23 from Manx, Peter Street of Preston, Niall Clinton of Swindon, Russell Bentley of Kent, Stephen Woodward of Chelmsford, Scott Macaulay of Glasgow City, Michael Salter of Leeds City, Mike Cummins of Herne Hill, Nathan Reed, an under-23 from Sunderland, Ryan Burley, and also an under-23 from Marshall Milton Keynes, Mark Nelson of Cambridge University, Stephen Morris of Cardiff, Matt Blunden of Notts AC, and Andrew Carr of Birchfield. So that completes your lineup. And just to confirm, 1,500 metres, 3 3/4 laps of the track, 62 seconds per 400 metres. That's what we're looking for the pacemaker, and that will bring us home, if we can maintain course, at 3 minutes and 52 seconds. And it's Michael Salter of the Leeds City athlete who's currently our race leader. Mike Cummins of Herne Hill in that distinctive red and black stripes is on his shoulder and tucked nicely on the inside. I think that looks to be Russell Bentley potentially. But they go through the first 400 metres spot on in terms of pacemaking, 62 seconds. So very good work so far from Richard Powell. Certainly Salter himself has a lifetime best. I'm just quickly looking down. I'm pretty sure is 3:47 in terms of his lifetime best. But again, probably reading between the lines in the E-race, he's perhaps not in that shape this year. Maybe he's had injuries or form issues, looking to build his way back through the gears, and he's certainly making a very positive approach to this men's 1,500 metre E-race. He's currently our race leader, but certainly Richard Powell doing a very good job out in front. Stretford AC well supported this evening's meeting with their pacemakers. And it looks like Nathan Reed also bringing himself into contention there. So certainly Salter, Cummins and Reed, that's your top three. And we'll look to see how the pace is panned out. We were spot on the first 400 metres. Let's see, looks as though we might be drifting ever so slightly. Look, yeah, we have slotted us quite dramatically there. So around about 64. So Michael Salter it is now, who's out in front. The Leeds City athlete, as we said, quickest in the field, but in terms of his season's best so far this year is 4 minutes. So it's obviously a big improvement in fitness for him. He's looking to gain momentum with each of the races, and so far so good for him. He's able to hold off the opposition, or is it a case of they're all tucked in nicely behind him and waiting to gauge their effort? But Salter from Leeds City, from Cummins. And they've just got 500 metres to go now. So certainly a lot of athletes are beginning to pick up, looking to think about their closing efforts. And as we talk about it, it's the Cummins, the Herne Hill Harrier, who begins to hit the front. And we'll be able to have a good look at the clock here. So roughly around about 2:56. So a sub-4 clocking is on. And I can see potentially we might have some athletes being paced mid-race there. Looks like I recognise that's Chris Moss, I think, there. He doesn't have a race number on, so maybe he's looking to pace an athlete around there. But certainly out in front, there's no doubt about the race leader. As we talked about, the distinctive colours of Herne Hill, the red and black, which is Mike Cummins. He has a lifetime best of 3 minutes and 56. He's been inside 4 minutes so far this season, and he's the one leading the way now. Salter's certainly not out of it, but we'll look to pick out a few more of the names as they come closer into contention. There's a few more new faces beginning to bring themselves to the fray that we didn't see earlier, so it's hard to gauge who those athletes are. And Michael Salter backing around about 5th place now, the long-time race leader, beginning to mount a challenge. But certainly Mike Cummins, it is, the Herne Hill Harrier. But there's almost 4 abreast here as the athletes are really streaking home here in this penultimate race here. Mike Salter, it is, who's come through. He is the previous race leader. He's produced a very impressive last 400 metres. Comes through to take the victory, unconfirmed, around about 3:55, more likely 3:56. So very good closing speed from Michael Salter again there. And as we talked about, Tom, another case of an athlete's all rushed past him at the bell, but Salter was able to calmly adjust through his gears, gauge his effort, and probably draw on the experience, as we talked about. 3:47 man, working his way back to full fitness, and his class showed in the end there.
Yeah, definitely. It was almost a blanket finish, really, but he just had that tiny percent extra left that probably maybe a couple of other guys used up when they went to the front with a lap to go, and just timed it perfectly. And that's more often than not, all it's about really just timing your effort correctly.
Definitely. And when you are an athlete, we're reading between the lines here with Salter, but we know he's ran 3:47 in the past. We look at a season's best of 4 minutes. He's obviously had issues, and he's using each race as it comes, and it's a case of just as long as you're chalking forward, he doesn't want to be a 3:55 runner. He wants to be back to 3:47, but each race he can take some positives from it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you've run that fast before, and he's obviously had, for whatever reason, not been running as fast recently, I think just being competitive and winning races is the most important thing, and that I'm sure will have done a lot for his confidence. And in a race where he's not at the front and not winning, he can possibly get dragged around to an even quicker time next time.
Certainly. And again, and from a coaching perspective, probably it's also really important for athletes to be able to watch their races back, not to be too overly critical, but it's always good to see yourself in the flesh, because when you're running around, you've got a feel for what the things look like and how it pans out. But sometimes when you sit back and watch the footage on yourself, you can see, yeah, maybe I went a little bit too earlier there, or my position wasn't so good there. And as we've talked about, you will be able to do that at our earliest convenience when the races will be uploaded online. And we just have one more race left, which is the 25th race of today, which is the women's 1500 metre B race.